Hey everybody, welcome back to the Matt and Carly podcast. This is episode number 15. And if you are new to our channel, we chit chat about all kinds of random things. But today we have a special podcast for you. My lovely wife, Carly, recently turned 31 years young.
31.
And we are going to come up with a list. We're going to try in this podcast to come up with a list of 31 useful parenting tips from our experience having children.
So, yes, the evolution of this concept or idea, I had in my phone, basically like ideas for podcasts, and I was like, you know what I should do in the month of June? We made it. This is the last day. We got 45 minutes. I was like, you know what we should do in the month of June is like, I should do a 31 things I've learned in 31 years. And I started to like compile a list. I got probably like halfway through and realized I haven't learned that many things. No, I'm just kidding. I realized that I was like kind of forcing it a little bit. I was like, oh, I'm like really trying to like, and then we just decided to have a conversation about what's going on with our lives, which is parenting. So 31-ish things that we've learned since we've been parenting. And I'm going to throw in some random shit that I've learned just in my life too.
Deal.
You too. So just here's like a comprehensive like 31 things we've learned in all of our years together, which on average is what, 33.5?
Sure.
To how old we are collectively?
It'd be average of 33.
Yeah.
And like
some
2/3 or something like that.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So anyways,
do you want me to kick it off?
Yeah, should we number them as we go, or do people just trust we'll probably hit around like 31?
We're going to shoot for 31 and we will list in the description the actual things. How about that?
Cool.
Okay. So the number one thing that I do as a parent that makes me happier and I can live my life at peace a little bit more is when my kids drink out of my drink, or even my wife for that matter. When Carly drinks out of my drink, I am a huge anti-backwash person. There's nothing more that bothers. There's nothing more than when someone takes a drink out of your drink, like out of a straw, and you can watch the liquid go back down out of their mouth into the straw. Yeah, like that. So my number one thing, can I show the people?
Wait, you're going to backwash into my drink?
No,
you're describing how to not backwash?
I'm going to show what I do. Okay, this is number one. You take a drink, right? Say this is my drink. And the key to this is you let the child drink almost until they're done drinking. So basically you cut their sip short and you pull it out of their mouth. So it'd be like this. So go ahead and take a little drink, a little sip, and then, you just pull it right out.
Dad.
But it guarantees that your kid does not spit chewed up goldfish back into your drink. And they get used to it over time. So as they start to think I have to take a sip faster, you just shorten that up. You just pull it out a little bit shorter, but you keep the backwash from going into your drink. Thank me later. Okay, cool. Here's your drink back.
That was a good one.
All right. That's number one. Do you have one off the top of your head?
Yeah, I do. Don't ever buy a Diaper Genie. Ever. Never.
What's a Diaper Genie?
Exactly. You'll never know. You don't know what a Diaper Genie is? Okay.
I don't know. Is it the trash thing?
Yeah. No shade. No shade to anybody that owns a Diaper Genie. I'm not saying that I don't like you as a person.
Well, hold on. You got to explain what it is. Okay. I don't even really know what it is.
So a Diaper Genie is basically a trash can that has special trash bags that are I don't know, they're basically pinched. There's a pinch point in this trash bin. It's like this. It's two spring-loaded pieces of plastic that come together. And it's kind of taller. It's a very oblong, tall shape. It's not a normal circular trash can. It's kind of it's a tall trash can.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's two spring-loaded pieces of plastic that basically are pinched together within this bag is surrounding it. Mm-hmm. And when you have the diaper full of poop and you take it and you can shove it down into this Diaper Genie, you push it down in, and then these spring-loaded pieces of plastic open up, they go down in, and then they close and create a seal, which
supposedly is supposed to keep the stink out.
The scent out.
There's nothing that will keep the scent out.
But it's not even that.
Do you want to know what keeps the scent out? What? Taking it to your garbage outside of your house.
It's not even that. It's just like, and I don't mind. I'm going to say this. I was somebody who like thought I needed a diaper genie because the amount of like information that's pushed on you when you're first becoming a parent and you're like reading all of like these, like, because I Googled so many things. I was like, what do I need? Like, what do I need for my baby? And like, there's all these, whatever, you know. Okay. So I read, and for some reason in my mind, that was the one thing I was like, oh my God, we need one of those.
I'm going to shout out your brother. I remember your brother sent you a message and said the same thing. Don't waste your money on a diaper
I don't
genie.
remember that.
I remember that.
But I was like, and no shade, because I think I have a couple of friends who have the diaper genie.
Hey, go for it. Teach their own.
It's totally fine. Totally fine.
We recommend not doing that.
But I was just like, you know what? Okay, here's the moral of the story. I thought I needed it so bad, and I didn't recognize that it was coming from like an external source that was telling me that I needed it. Yeah. And when I stepped back to think about it, I was like, you know what? I really don't need that. I'm just going to walk it downstairs to my garage.
Good call.
Anyways.
Okay. So number 2.
I spent a lot of time on that.
Don't go with the diaper genie.
Do not. You don't need it.
Get up off your lazy, tired butt and take it outside. If you
have a diaper genie, the only way you can have it is if like family members, grandparents, parents, people buy you the inserts because they're expensive.
Yeah. Don't
buy yourself.
Yeah.
Diaper genie inserts.
So, yes. I'm gonna hit us with number 3.
Okay.
This is a big one. When you are a new parent, don't settle for the convenience of buying small packs of diapers and wipes. And what I mean by that is don't let yourself go in and buy like the 10 pack of diapers because they're like 500 times more expensive than when you buy the giant bulk size.
That's
so
true.
Do your research, take advantage of when you can get the like 180 count diaper pack.
Yeah.
And go with that, assuming you're going with like disposable diapers.
We literally have a
wipes.
Costco membership just for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because So
here's a little secret, and I don't know if they still do it. When we lived near the Michigan State University campus, there was a place called University Stores, and they would sell you diapers and wipes and even like Duracell batteries at cost because they would buy them in bulk and then they'd use them like at the nursing school. But they would sell them to whoever walked in at cost. So we would walk out with like 6 cases full of diapers for like $100.
I asked the guy one time when we walked in there, I said, do you know of any other colleges that do this? And he like rattled off a couple. And I think it's like major colleges that have hospitals or like teaching hospitals attached to them.
Do your research locally. See if you can find one of those because it was awesome.
Amazon's also a great resource.
Yeah, it can be good.
Are in a pinch.
Yeah.
Or not.
So over the life of your child using diapers, it saves a ton of cash. So that's number 3.
Because you have a lot.
Buy in bulk.
A lot of diapers. And you never don't need diapers.
Right. I'm going to do number 4
okay.
before I forget it.
Yep.
Are you recording these?
No.
Okay.
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
Yes.
Number 4, and this is a tip that I heard, I can't remember where, but one of my coworkers verified that they did it too. And this might be old news, but to a new parent, this is awesome. So when your baby inevitably blows out of their diaper and fills their onesie up the back with that yellow, like seedy, just sticky, gross poop, don't throw the onesie away. And don't waste your time scrubbing it in the sink, trying to get the yellow poop stain out of it. That sounds graphic, but I kid you not. The best way to remove that stain, especially out of like a pure white onesie, you literally just take it out on a sunny day, set it out in the sun, and let it sit there all day.
Yeah, those are really crazy.
The sun's rays will break down. I can't even remember what it is that's in it, but the sun's
zirconium.
Sure. The sun will actually break down the stain. Bilirubin.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what it was.
It'll break it down and your stain will go away just with pure sunlight.
So interestingly enough, our first daughter had jaundice. I'll make this super fast. She had a touch of jaundice. She was just over the like comfort zone when we were about to leave. So they wanted to keep her. So she was in an incubator for a little while and then they sent us home with a billy blanket, which is basically like UV light in like a little plastic form that you could like kind of stick in behind their onesie or whatever. And the exposure to their skin. And basically, if you keep it, I can't remember how many hours we had to keep it on her skin, like 8 or something. It was a lot.
Yeah.
So basically when she's napping, like when you're holding her, like nursing, whatever. So she would have this little UV blanket that they would have. And it would literally, her skin would absorb it and it would break it down in her body. And then it would be like pooped out. And it was insane. Like never knew anything like that. So yeah, I think it's got to be the same type of thing, like UV rays from the sun or some type of whatever. Yeah, it's got to be UV rays,
I think
right?
it is, yeah.
And then it breaks down.
It's
it
the craziest
will blow your
thing
mind.
ever. Yeah, I set one out the first time I tried it, and it was like a goner.
Yeah.
And I set it out, and like 3 hours later, it was gone.
And you wash it once with like detergent, and it just gets it all. It's crazy.
That's it.
It's insane. Okay, that was a good one. That was a really good one.
You got one off the top of your head? I've got another one. I've got another good one.
Yeah, you keep going.
I've got two.
Keep going until you run out because I got a couple in here.
Okay, I've got two. No, I've got three.
Okay.
I'm gonna go all the way back. This is an old school one. So with our kids, our first child. So here's the tip: when you are a brand new parent, when your baby is like in that zone where they do that flinch thing and they wake up and their arms go up. Our first
Do you
daughter.
remember what that's called?
I can't remember. What is it? It's like
Marlowe's not Marlowe's reflex.
No, it's a reflex. I can't remember.
Oh.
But basically, every parent knows. It's like when you startle a baby and their hands shoot straight up. So our first daughter would not sleep. Like we could not get her to sleep through the night.
Moro reflex.
The moro reflex, yeah. And here's the tip. If your baby requires to have some type of a swaddle, or like one of the swaddle blankets that Velcro, whatever. If you do it with a blanket or a little jammy thing, if your kid is having trouble sleeping and they typically sleep in a swaddle, like get that thing tight. Like I'm talking like a tight burrito tight. I thought it was too tight when I did it. Like I'd get it to the point where there was like no wiggle room, and she loved it. She'd sleep through the night. And I was like, there's no way this is good. Like, should I do this? But as soon as you swaddled them tight enough to where they felt like even when that reflex would go off, she wouldn't wake up.
Yeah.
So the tip is try it loose. And if that doesn't work, like from your regular swaddle tightness, go tight. Like go like super tight to see if that helps. Because it helped on ours. And
babies
she just slept through the night every time.
They're so different.
Yeah.
That's how like all three of our kids are like completely. Lila had to be tight and swaddled. Lauren was just like, she slept through the night the day she got home.
Yeah. So here's another tip. Did you get the tight swaddle?
Yeah. And then Adam was just.
Yeah. He just sleeps, whatever.
Yeah.
He's good. So here is an invaluable tip. Which one is this? Are we on 5?
6.
This is number 6. Number 6 might be the most useful one out of all of them. Get yourself a white noise machine. Use some type of white noise during nap time, during bedtime. It just gives yourself that little bit of audible cover. So like when you mess up and you bang something or whatever, the nap time doesn't end like 20 minutes in and then you got a cranky baby. So go and invest in something. Get a Bluetooth speaker that you can link and play something on YouTube, or go out and get like a dedicated white noise machine. Because they're awesome and they make life a lot better.
I agree.
For sure.
I fully agree with that statement.
I've got another one.
You just keep going until you run out and then I'll catch up. How about that?
Okay, is this number 7?
Yes.
Okay, number 7. This goes along with nap time and sleeping. And I was a dum-dum.
The most valuable parent time is when your kids are sleeping. That's why he's got all these.
You need to cherish nap time and sleep time. So this is a good one. I don't know why it took me so long to figure this out. Maybe I was just being dumb about it. Typically, like if you buy wipes in a store, they're going to come in some type of a waterproof pack. And usually they're in a little white, whatever pack, and it's got a little flip up thing. You can pull it out. The ones that we use are very similar to the others. They crinkle. They make a noise when you pick them up. Over time, what we found was that we ended up changing the kids either on the floor or like on the bed. And typically, like if there's a bed in the room that the crib is in, it's just like a natural thing to change your kid on the bed and then put them, to bed. More times than not, those wipes end up sitting on your bed until you go to sleep. And what I did for a long time that was wrong was I would walk in and I would just slowly try to pick it up and, not crinkle it too much to wake up the kid. And I'd like hope for the best. There's a way better way to do it. It's so simple. You just walk up and imagine like this is the pack of wipes. Instead of grabbing it from the top, you walk in, lay your hand down on the bed, push down on the bed, and slide your hand slowly underneath it. And I'm serious, you can pick up that pack of wipes and it never makes a sound. It doesn't matter if it's got one wipe in it or if it's totally full. I do it every night now. So the old slipperoo, slip it in there and no sound. No risk of waking up the kid. Oh my God. That's a good one. Somebody's going to write in the comments, be like, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea.
So here's a good one. I don't know. I don't think this is like, I don't think this is one that could be counted as a full one.
Hey, it's just tips.
But
if it's a tip, it counts.
Okay. If you don't have a dog yet and you're planning on having a kid, don't get a dog. And the reason is their ears. Very simply, their ears will wreck nap time in 5 seconds flat. Over. Nap. Over. Awake. Hello? Mom? Dad? Where are you?
So what's the tip?
I heard a helicopter.
What's the tip? Don't let the dog
or
sleep
get a dog
in the
hat.
room.
Get like a dog bandana and put it around their ears and tie it under their chin while your kid's sleeping.
No. Here's a real one. I'm gonna piggyback on this.
Okay.
So most dogs walk around with a collar on with like a metal tag.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. That's better, yeah.
So
any dog noise.
Yeah. So what Carly's saying is they'll walk in and like our lab will shake his head. Like if he's sleeping and he wakes up, he shakes his head.
Right next to the crib.
And that sound is enough to always wake up our kid.
Yeah, it breaks the sound barrier.
We started taking their collars off when they're in the house because just the jingle jangle of them shaking their heads with collars is like
it's rough.
Kryptonite to a nap.
It really is.
Here's a tip.
Yeah.
If you got a dog, the first thing you do when you have a baby and you have a dog is go out and get those tag silencers. The little rubber things that go over the tags. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And do not let them sleep in the same room during nap time as much as they might like to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, that's I learned that the way hard way.
Yeah.
For the kids. I was like, man, they'll sneak in, they'll push the door open, and then you're just like, oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
This isn't good. Okay, here's a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of in line with, this isn't really a tip. This is just from my brain. And this is where I deviate from our original thought because, okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Life tip number 9.
Yeah.
Birthdays. When we celebrate birthdays, we should celebrate or honor the mom of the kid that was birthed.
That does not count.
Like, forget you. Like, June 18th, I should be calling my mom and being like, hey, Mom, thank you for birthing me. I understand now how much pain you went through and how much agony. Yeah. Like, thank you. Happy birthday, Mom.
Birthdays are terrible reminders.
Happy day of my birth, Mom. That's what I think birthdays should be. Like, forget that it's your birthday.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
That's not useful at all, but it is a very valid point.
I mean, or just at least share it. Like, at least have cake or honor your mom.
So yeah, with spouses or family members of the mother.
Yeah.
Be sure to just like acknowledge that.
Of the person who gave you birth.
Right.
Just be like, hey, thank you or happy birthday to me.
Yeah, like when you go to a little kid birthday party, take them the present, say happy birthday, kid, and then give
go to
the mom a big
and be like,
high five.
Like,
good job.
You did great.
You did another year.
Yeah. Like, why are birthdays celebrated for the person who was birthed and not the person who did the birthing? I think that's crap. Okay, anyways. I don't... And I never really understood that until now. And I feel bad that I missed out on how 20,
Right.
however many years
Yeah.
of celebrating my mom. Okay, sorry.
So I've got.
That's
I've
not
got,
related.
It's okay. I've got a few more. Which one was that?
9.
That's not really 9. That'll just be one of
That
the bonus
doesn't count.
ones. No,
Okay.
it's not useful for anybody.
Yes, it is.
No,
it's
we'll do.
brain exercises. Think about something out of the box. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. So I've got a few, but I'm gonna break them down.
Okay.
And these have to do with car seats and car driving.
We could talk about this the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, and this is subjective, but for tip number 9,
Okay.
when you invest in a car seat, number 1, and this is not for me, this is for the kid. Number 1, buy one that has material that is breathable. Because when your kid hits a point where they are uncomfortable from temperature, like overly hot in their car seat, there is nothing you're going to do to get that kid to quiet down, calm down. So breathability, I'm going to go with number 9, car seat breathability. Okay. And then number 10 is a direct spin off of that one. Buy one where you can quickly take off the cover to wash it. Would you agree with that one?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I'm going to go straight into number 11.
Yeah.
Straight into number 11. When you go to buy drink cups.
Oh, those are mine.
Do you want to take it? You take it.
Yeah. So
you know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Okay,
So when you go to buy a drink cup, like buy one that's sturdy, buy one that doesn't leak if you tip it upside down, buy one that's not going to get up. Okay. I have a funny story. Okay. I have a real funny story. So buy a drink cup that can last
longer than the kid's going to be a kid.
Yeah, for a long time. So even if you have to invest, like for example, I've been buying like Munchkin, which they make a cool one. They have like the 180, 360, like
they
flip
work pretty
it upside
well.
down. Yeah, so basically it's got like the little, like you pop it on, it's a little like silicone piece, but it's got a little plastic thing with a bunch of like holes in it, like almost like a strainer. So it creates a suction. You can drink from it, but when you tip it upside down, it doesn't spill. It's really cool. It's awesome. It does not spill. There are a few, the Camelback ones do spill. And also they get you because the straws go bad or missing, or they like get crimped. The little like nipple part where you can drink from usually gets bitten to pieces.
Yeah.
Like
you spend a lot of time and money replacing the little parts. Do yourself a favor. Buy the one that is durable and totally waterproof.
I feel
if the kid drops it, or the dropping is big because with the Camelbacks, if you drop it just right and it lands on the little rubber, the little mouthpiece will push in, and then there's nothing holding the water back.
Yeah. So tip. Yeah. Oh, here's a good tip. This is my tip number 11. When you go on an airplane.
Wait, hold on.
With your child. What?
Number 11.
11
was the good cup.
Good cup.
This is number 12.
This is going to be like 12, 11B.
We'll just go to 12.
Okay. Good cup. Okay. If you are traveling with a child on an airplane and you take a cup for them to drink from, like a sippy cup, and if it is full of liquid before takeoff,
if it's sealed,
and it is sealed,
and pressurized,
and it has some type of valve that opens up, be aware that when the cabin is pressurized, if there is any liquid and any air in the bottle, and then you are up in the air and you go to open the top, it will spray to seat 24, 23, 22, 21, E, B, D, F, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
And you will be
of the seats.
You will be that parent that just sprayed the whole plane with your kids' water.
Which is terrifying because when you have any form of liquid or substance that's not your own hit you on an airplane, red flags go up and you're like, what's being shot at me right now?
Yeah.
Am I in danger? Who's doing this? It's me with my child's cup.
Yeah.
So don't do that. My friend Alicia was with me when that happened.
Wait, so what's the solution?
Don't fill it up until you get in the air.
Or you have to loosen the top of the cup as you start to fly.
Before you open it.
Because if you keep that thing sealed when you're on
literally pressurizes.
If you're on the runway and you go to open it when you're up high, bad things happen.
I didn't, zero thought went through my mind. This is a bad idea. And I just pushed that little button and it was
everywhere.
Okay. Imagine taking a hose and putting your thumb on the end of it. That is how much pressure came out of that thing. And I looked at my friend and I looked at my daughter and I was like,
oh no,
I'm so sorry. And she was like, but I'm still thirsty. And I was like, it's in C24B now. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways. So buy a good cup and then don't open it when you're in an airplane.
Yes.
If there's water in it.
So that's a tremendous tip.
Yeah.
Another tip that I would have, this will be number 13. Was that number 12?
That was number 12.
Yeah. The pressurizing. Don't be that parent on a plane.
It was me.
Another great tip, though, is even if your kid, you think that they are up for the task of traveling and walking alongside you and doing those things in an airport, this is more like for people that fly. If you think your kid is on the borderline, or even if you're confident that your kid, say they're 3, 4, even 5 years old, any younger than that, absolutely have a stroller.
Mm-hmm.
A stroller that is going to be fast enough to walk with, quick to break down, but don't skimp out. I would say the number one thing where we went wrong was that we thought when we had 2 kids, we were like, oh, we'll put one in a stroller and we'll strap the other one to our chest.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
It was too much.
Have a stroller seat for each kid.
Yeah.
Because once that kid loses it that's strapped to your chest,
you're like, I can't.
Things are bad.
I can't get away from it.
Yeah, things are bad.
Yeah. We've traveled with our kids probably, how many times in an airplane? 2 or 3 times?
Yeah. It's been mostly you.
I've gone twice by myself with an emotional support human that I coaxed
AKA
into coming.
one of her friends.
I had to fly with my 2 daughters and I thought about doing it by myself. And at the time I was not confident enough to do so. And I fully admit that. I was like, I don't like flying anyways. Y'all know that, whoever's been following this podcast. And also if you just know me personally, I'm not a great flyer. And then flying with 2 kids, I was like, my anxiety level, I think it's going to be maxed out. So maybe I need a friend.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I'll pay for your ticket. If you come with me and you either help me or my kids at the time, whoever needs it most, just come, we'll send a little vacation, whatever. So, that was really fun. But a stroller is very imperative to have for both children, or one stroller if you can get 2 kids in one stroller.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
I will say, when I was going through the airport, I think it was you and I, and we had to connect. We had 4 flights total, I think. We had one and then another one to our destination and then 2 back. Mm-hmm. So we had to connect 4 times. And it was or I guess
2 times.
2 times.
Yeah.
4
but you had to board
moments
4
where you're in an airport at separate times. So there was a girl, probably not a girl, she was my age, and she had 3 kids, all probably under the age of 6. She had 1 on her chest, and the other 2 were just perfect angels who listened. And she was just like, hey, stay right there. And they were like, okay. And I looked at her, and I looked at my setup with my friend and our 2 daughters, and I was like,
into strollers.
I was like, why am I not like that? What is your secret, girl?
Yeah.
Lady, come tell me your secrets. So, anyways.
So I have one that is kind of, I think we both struggled with this one, and it happens at different times and different, for different reasons. What number are we on? 14?
14.
Okay, 14. This one's kind of deep. This is a deep strategic one, mentally for parents.
Yep.
Don't ever compare your kid to another kid, especially of the same age. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there's always going to be that day, the play date or, whatever, where you want your kid to be the good kid and they have a meltdown. So keep in mind that everybody that's watching your kid have a meltdown, they're going, look at this shitty kid having a meltdown. But it could be 5 minutes after everybody leaves that everybody else's kids melts down too. So don't ever get into a mindset where you're like, well, Madeline was so well behaved the whole time and ours just like, broke everything and screamed the whole time. Like everybody's kid does that at some point. Like, don't be fooled into thinking that someone else's kid is like an angel.
That's a really good tip for life in general, though, as just like a human being.
Yeah.
Like, everybody goes through their own shit.
Parents do it more than like they do personally.
It's easier to do it when you're a parent because there's something that exists outside of you that you can evaluate at all times.
And you want your kid.
And you want them to
be like the best.
Yeah. I mean, you want the best for them. You want them to thrive.
For yourself.
Not strive. You want them to
speak for yourself on that one.
What?
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But that's a good one. Don't compare your kid to anyone else. Compare your kid to them and them alone.
That's a great. Yeah.
And don't even compare your kid to your other kid.
We try to do that.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
That's a big one.
We try to do that. Yeah. Here's a really cool tip. And I want to do this more and I don't do this enough now. I babysat for a family when I was in college and they had three boys at the time. And they were all within 2 or so years apart.
Yeah. This is tip number 15.
Yes, this is 15. Their family used to do something where they would like have scheduled individual time. So they would basically say, okay, today's, I don't want to say their name. So like today's your day, today's the other kid's day. And then today's like the third kid's day the next day. So they had like set days when each kid would have time with one or both parents.
Yeah.
So basically they had scheduled individual time and like they made it a point to have it be fair and equal and, have the other kid be happy for like the kid who was going or the other two kids be like, okay, have a great time. Like you're going to have so much fun. Like I remember one day the dad came home from work and he was like, hey, I'm going to take the youngest kid fishing. Like today's his day. He's going fishing with me. Like, we'll see you guys later. And they were like, have so much fun. Like, make sure you put your worm on this way. And I remember seeing that and I was like, that is so awesome.
Yeah.
And not have it be like, encourage it to be a happy, positive thing. And like, don't make it like, oh, they get to go,
Yeah, it's a fight against developing a sense of jealousy.
Yeah, and
it should eliminate jealousy between the kids.
Well, and it's easy to do that, but it's a great teaching moment to basically have a kid be happy for the other kid, knowing that their time is going to come, and like knowing that time alone with a parent is so valuable. And it's like when you have 3, I didn't feel this as much with when we had.
Well, it's because you're playing man on man.
Both of the girls. Yeah. Well, it was easy
when you go to a zone defense, when you get 3 and you've only got 2
exactly.
parents, it's harder.
It was easy to take one. Like if you had one, I had one. And it was like we got to always like kind of rotate. Yep. But yeah, it's challenging with 3 because you have to really carve that time out. So dude, I'll never forget that. It imprinted in my brain. I was like, that is such an important thing. Like we're going to do that. So yeah.
So I've got number 16. Number 16 is... like this is a common sense thing, but I think when you start to run short on time as a parent, especially when you're a working parent and you only get a couple hours maybe every night, with your kids, what I would say is this sounds so simple, but for a new parent, maybe like just having their second child, it's easy to forget this. Make sure that you go out of your way to identify the uniqueness in your kid and do something with them that stimulates that uniqueness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like one of the things that people fall into, and we kind of did too, is like with our first kid, we had a big, we had a big supply of books, and we knew what books our first kid liked, and we would read the same books to our second kid, assuming like, oh, well, our first kid liked it, and some of them were hit and miss. So it's kind of like from every time it should reset.
Yeah.
Like each kid, it should reset. Make sure that you're stimulating them, giving them what they want and what excites them. And don't just assume like, well, here's 2 and here's 3. And like, if we ever had 4, just be like, oh, all 4 are going to be the same. Go out of your way to do it. And you'll just have happier kids. It's more effort because you're going to have to read different books to them and you're going to have to, do different things all the time. But do your best to break it up so they get their individual stimulation.
Yeah. You got to just honor what the kid wants and likes, and let them flourish.
Embrace their difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is that a good one?
Yeah, that was a good one. I think it's really funny. We've talked a lot about, like, just on like side note to that, we've talked a lot about, because our first two were both girls and then our third was a boy. So it's like having two kids 2 years apart of the same gender is really funny because it's so easy. Oh, sorry, there was a lot of sibilance there when I
that was my nose. I went.
Oh, that was weird. There's a lot of like, we lump them in together a lot, like not meaning to all the time, and like you have to really work to give them their individuality a lot more than, like, because they're the same gender 2 years apart. So it's so easy, and they play with the exact same things. They like to do, like girl stuff together, and it's like it's so easy to just put it together. But it's so important.
It's especially when time gets limited. It's so easy to just be like, here, just do this together. Yeah. And that's not always the best way to go. And they really enjoy it.
They really do. They enjoy that time together, and I think they're going to be super close. But it's like, it's important to not lose that sense of being an individual as a kid at this time, because it's such a developmental, like, they're developing so much right now. Yeah. But anyways. I
have 3. Okay. In my mind. Do you want to go?
No, you go.
Do you have one?
Not yet. I've got like kind of it's half baked.
I'm gonna steal one of these. Okay, so I've got 3. Which one are we on? Are we on 16 here?
17.
We're on 17. We're gonna do it. We're gonna get to 31. 17. This one is an awkward, uncomfortable one sometimes.
Good. Bring it up.
But I'm gonna say it. And the best way to put it is, remember that when you become a mom and dad, or a single mom, or a single dad, whatever it is, you are the parent of that child. And what I mean by that is, it's your job to make decisions in the best interest for your child. So, putting it in a nicer way, however you were raised does not mean that is the way that your child needs to be raised. Mm-hmm. So everybody's going to have, like, it's kind of a joke. Like, people go like, let me give you a little bit of advice. Don't ever take anybody else's advice. Right. So it's like ironic. But what I'm saying is, remember that you are the parent, and be open and very clear with everybody else, regardless of who they are, that you are making the rules for your child, and it's you and your child together doing them. Mm-hmm. And set down that boundary as soon as you can and hold to it. Because the first time someone steps over the boundary or does something that is not allowed in your life, like if they go over your boundary, if they break your rule, you need to be willing to remove yourself and your child from that situation. Yep. So be firm and remember that you are the parent, and don't let someone basically tell you a better way to do it.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, you are responsible for your kid.
It's real challenging when you're in an environment also where nobody supports that. Yeah. It's really challenging.
You might be in that all the time. Right. It might be a daily struggle. It's really
hard to break free of that. Yeah. But it's at the end of the day, it's you're advocating for your child's life. You're trying to do the best for them and for yourself and for you together, or for your family or whatever. And it's really important to do that. And it's hard. It's very hard. Side note, if you get a chance, or if anybody gets a chance, there's an awesome book called Boundaries by Henry Cloud and somebody else. And I read that a year ago. Yeah. And I'm not going to say it changed my life, but it really
improved your life.
No, it really shed light on like some things that I was doing that I either was aware of or was like subconsciously aware of, but didn't really know how to put it into words. It's an awesome book. I don't know if we can like link it, but
we can put a link to it.
How we do that. But anyways, like it's a really, just on that topic. It's very cool. But give 0 fucks. Okay, bye.
So my next one, is this number 18?
Yes.
Number 18, when your child becomes old enough to essentially have a conversation with you, even like, it doesn't need to be like talking, but when you are going back and forth with a kid, just know that negotiating with your kid will backfire with you. And what I mean by that is it's okay to be flexible sometimes, you know, when you tell them no, or when you tell them what's going to happen and they don't like it. I mean, you have, what do you call it?
Appropriate no.
An appropriate no. So there's an appropriate no, like,
that was actually in that book.
Yeah. So an appropriate no is like when you tell, say you have a close family friend and you say like, go give him a hug and kiss or whatever, like goodbye, or go give him a hug.
Or do you want to?
Or do you, like, if you're saying like, you want to go give him a hug? If they say no, that's it.
Don't force it.
Don't force it. Don't negotiate it with it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's an appropriate no. That is a personal thing for that person. Don't push it.
Yeah.
But there's another type of no where it's like 10 o'clock and they have to go to school in the morning and you're like, that's it. Get in your bed. It's bedtime.
Yeah.
That is one of those things where they go, no, you're done.
Lay down the law. Yeah.
So don't negotiate and don't feed into. So actually, I'm gonna make a separate one.
Okay.
So number 18, be careful with negotiating with your child. Do the right thing. Be firm when you need to.
Well, yeah, and like on the kind of like side topic of appropriate no's, it's like know when to give them grace and know when to like know when it's okay for them to make that decision. Right. This is what we practice. This is what we try to do. But it's like know when it's okay for them to say like, no, I don't want that. And don't always try to control every single thing that they're doing, but understand as a parent when it's a safe thing, a health thing, like when you need to give them boundaries and, you know, to help their well-being basically. Yeah. But if it's like, hey, you have to wear this shirt and they're like, I don't want to wear that shirt. You're like, okay, that's what we do. It's like, all right, well, you know, you can wear your princess dress. I don't care. Have fun. Like, do you, girl? Like, wear your princess dress and your cowboy boots. Like, have fun. There's times where it's okay. There's times where you have to give them enough structure where they're not going to hurt themselves mentally, physically, whatever.
Right.
Anyways.
So for my number 19, I'm going to go straight into this one. Don't feed negative behavior with constant feedback. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. What's a good way to say this? When your child starts to act in a bad way, number one, tell them to stop or tell them what you want them to do. Say it firmly one time, and that is it. Don't constantly keep telling them. It's like kids will learn when they argue and when they backtalk that they can prolong the behavior, prolong the fight. So don't feed into it. Be firm, say it one time, and stop the dialogue. Silence is super important, and it's very powerful if done right.
Lila responds to that probably because she's the oldest, but she responds to that the best, where if instead of engaging, I agree fully, and we do this, we try to do this as much as we can. And sometimes it's challenging where you're just like, oh, like I give up. I'm frustrated. Like it's the end of the day. Like I'm just going to like, it's parenting happens.
Yeah.
like the weird part of parenting happens where you're like, I know what I should be doing right now. And I know what I'm supposed, like, I know what the right thing to do right now in terms of parenting is, like in a constructive way. And then you're just like, you're a human being, and it happens. You get frustrated. You yell sometimes. You get to your wit's end, and you're just like, all right, like, come on. You got to help me out here, kid. Yeah. But like, there's some moments where, you're just like, you got to just like stop. You can't keep going. You can't keep driving it in. They have to just hear what's going on. Like I heard you say today, you go like, Lila, like, I know you want this or whatever, but like, take a step back and read the room. I heard you say that. And I was like, oh, like, that's a good thing to help her. Like, that's a good way to say it, because it's like, sometimes you got to just recognize what the situation is and kind of let them understand just in their own, like somebody said something and then there's silence. Yeah. And it's almost like their brain is able to process rather than having somebody constantly like bark at you.
Yep.
And it's hard to do, but like,
well, especially when they're young.
Yeah. Oh
that's
my gosh.
Really challenging.
Lila does I've noticed that lately more so Lila will, if she'll say like, Mom, can I do this? Or like, Mom, I wanted to, like, I wanted this instead, or like, blah, blah. And if you just say like, nope, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And she'll go, no. And instead of being like, no, that's what we're going to do, she goes, no. And then, okay. And then it's like, you give her that couple seconds to process and like she recognizes, okay, Mom's not going to keep feeding it, or like Dad's not going to keep like engaging with me. Okay, fine. Yeah. And she almost like recognizes, it's almost like she has the control to make that decision rather than somebody like telling her constantly.
Yep.
You know, does that make sense?
It does.
So I agree. I agree with that. We try to do that as much as we can, but like I said, we're human. It doesn't always happen, but
yeah, we do our best.
We do our best.
I have another couple, and these are easy ones. These are like, these won't take explanation. So one of the best things that we invested in our house is the little plastic door handle covers. So let me explain the difference between a doorknob and a door handle that like sticks out and it's a 90-degree pull. Door handles that stick out are good, especially for like elderly people, people that might have what's the word? Arthritis. Yeah, they're easy to open. They're easy to obviously use. There's a little like safety. Basically, it's like a cover that clips over a door handle, and it's got 2 holes where an adult can put fingers through it and open the doorknob. Those things are great because it keeps your kid from outsmarting the door basically, and you can keep them in their bedroom if they need to be, but you can protect them from going outside of your house, and they've worked really well. I mean, it was up until like a year ago when our oldest figured out how to open it.
Yeah. It gives you just an extra layer of...
Even our neighbors, a lot of our neighbors can't figure out how to use them.
They get stuck in our house.
I'll see if I can find it, but basically you can find it in like any Walmart or whatever. Amazon has them.
Child-proofing is fun.
Child-proofing the doorknobs. Yeah, those are big. And if you think you're going to have a toddler running around with the doorknobs that come straight out, good luck. They're going to figure that out so fast. Yeah. That's a big one. And I've got 2 more that are safety related. I think probably the number one thing that I pushed for to get, and they weren't cheap. If you have stairs in your house, either going up or down, regardless of how good you think your kid is when they're young at going up and down stairs, it's not a fun thing to see your kid lose their balance on the stairs. So to keep them off the stairs, when you go to invest in a gate, don't just get one. Like, don't think you just need it for going down. Always have a gate at the bottom and the top of the stairs, because the worst thing you can have is your kid go up the stairs and then find a closed gate at the top. There have been times when our kids have gone all the way up, and if they're not good with stairs, it's the worst because they can't get up and they're just trapped right there. So it's a scary moment to see your kid, slip by and get up the stairs. So get 2 gates, one for the top, one for the bottom. What number was that?
21.
21. Number 22, get gates that you can permanently attach to the walls. So don't get a gate where it's, if you can, like a lot of people put gates where they have these like cam locking mechanisms. Those can slip, they can not fit very well. I mean, they can do damage over time, and they basically end up breaking over the years. So get permanently affixed gates for in your house. They're going to cost more, but they're going to be way safer and they'll last a lot longer. And then one more right after that. If you do have a gate, like a child gate that you put in a hallway or at the top of the stairs or whatever, understand that most of them are going to have a side where there is no locking mechanism. So it's like, call it the flat side. The side that has the bar that locks down, don't be the person that puts that on the side where the kid is, because they're going to use that to climb up onto it. So every time you put the gate in, make sure that you put the smooth side on the side where the kid is. don't give them like a footrest to climb up on the gate.
Oh yeah, that's happened.
That's a big one.
Times. Yeah.
Because it's something that most people don't think about until it's too late and your kid's like up over the gate. Yeah. So put the gate on the right way.
That's true. I have a really fun one, and this is from our neighbor in Utah. If you ever go on a road trip, get glow sticks. Oh. Like at night, if you're ever on a road trip where it's going to get like dark and you're going to be in the car and you are like, you know, you're driving for a while. Well, you know, you're driving for a while and you know, it's probably going to be in the dark.
Absolutely.
Get glow sticks.
Those
that lasted
hours.
They were just like
hours.
In the back seat.
They loved it.
It was so cute.
They couldn't get,
And best part, when they drop them, you can find them. You don't have to turn on the lights.
Right.
It was awesome. Yeah, that was like, that blew my mind. I was like, I would have never, I was putting together, I had the most Pinterest-worthy little car packs. I had like coloring books and snacks and like things and stickers and like all the stuff.
Yeah.
And glow sticks.
Yeah.
She was like, hey, here, I got you some glow sticks. I was like, oh, cool, thanks. Like, they'll be sleeping. And then it was like 10 p.m., 10:30, 11, like crap. And we were driving. This was like cross-country drive.
Yeah.
Thought they'd be sleeping by then. And I remember being like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We didn't have like a little pop-down movie thing or anything like that. They were just like, we'd roll the windows down, roll them up. And I was like, oh yeah, we have those glow sticks.
Yeah.
And it was just like over.
Yeah, it was
Game
a good
changer.
one.
That was really fun.
That's a solid one.
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
I'm getting all kinds of all these little things.
They're flipping your brain.
Yeah.
Flipping switches.
So here's a good one, and this goes along with road tripping, especially if you're going to be in a car with like a young child that's in a rear-facing car seat. Do yourself a favor and invest in one of the mirrors that straps to like the headrest of the seat that your kid's in. I don't know how many times, like in the very beginning, we didn't have one of those mirrors.
Yeah.
And you hear weird noises and you're like, what was that? And then like you're stopping the car to like check and make sure the kid's okay. Just get a mirror that you can see, like a big enough mirror where they can see you and you can see them, because it keeps them happy. And it's just so much faster to verify like your kid's not choking on something or like, puking or whatever. So get a mirror.
Sped up in a car.
What number was that?
24.
The mirror. What was 23?
Glow sticks.
Glow sticks. No, that's not a joke. That's a good one. But don't let them chew on it and get the stuff like in their mouth. If they start to chew on it, make sure you take it away.
Yeah, that's bad. Don't do that.
Yeah. So we're on to number 25. We're closing in on an hour.
Yeah.
And if we can hit 31
we're going pretty fast.
By roughly an hour, I'm feeling like we've provided a lot of
just
value.
Stupid crap we've learned over the years where we've either failed at originally or we've just picked up from other people. So I have a really cool thing. I think I'm going to probably screw this up, but there was a guy, I listened to his book. Don't remember what it was called. His name's John Maxwell, and The
Tipping Point.
Nope, that's Malcolm Gladwell.
You're right.
So his name's John Maxwell, I believe, and it was. Oh shit!
I remember the guy's name.
Yeah, I'll link the book title if anyone's interested. But this guy is really cool. So he is like kind of like a self-help like business guy. But he said in one of his audiobooks that when he had kids, something that was really. It just stuck with me. I don't know why.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, it stuck with me. He basically said when he had kids, and it's basically about self-reflecting and like learning about yourself and being aware of who you are as a person. And the way that you do that a lot of times is reflecting and taking time to process events or things that happen to yourself by either writing it down, like meditating, thinking about it, whatever.
Yep.
But something that's really important is when your kid goes through any experience or you go out for like an event or you're doing something all together, at the end of that thing, you ask them like, what did you learn and what did you love? And it basically takes their brain and it connects dots. If you go through something and then you actually can talk to it or have a conversation and like work through whatever happened, it's really powerful. I think that, and I heard that and I was like, man, like that's so simple. That's so simple. Mm-hmm. And it's so like cool because it helps them work through like what was, and it's just 2 questions. You know, it doesn't have to be this big complicated, like, let's write a journal, which like I always feel guilty if I'm not like, oh, I'm not having my kid journal their experiences, which I do. Like we help them write stuff down, but like, yeah, it's so simple. And it's like in passing in the car when you're done with wherever you're at, like it's really cool. And usually they will answer and it will spark other things. And then it kind of like snowballs into like these other really cute things that they start talking about. And I've done it recently where they've really gone into these like really interesting things. And I'm like, they would have never really started talking about that if I didn't ask those questions. But then we'll say that was 25. There was another thing that's really interesting too. So I can't remember where I heard this from. So I can't give the credit where credit's due because this is not from my brain. But basically, I just bumped the camera so bad.
It's okay. They won't even know.
But basically, when the school day is done, or when like
wait, hold on. Is that are you on a 26 now?
No, I'm on a 25. This is 25.
Okay.
Oh no. It is 26. Sorry.
Yeah, you're on 26.
I'm not recording. So basically, when your child comes home from school, and I heard this, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a good one."
This is my favorite one.
Yeah, when your child comes home from school, or like somewhere where they're learning something, or they're doing something challenging.
Where you're not there.
Yeah, where you're not there, and they're doing something that's more challenging than just being at home, like playing around and messing around, where they actually have to go and like apply themselves in some way. Ask them instead of being like,
could you try again?
No. Get out of here.
You're hip. You're with it.
I'm hipping with it. So basically, like when they're in a situation where they have to apply themselves and it might not always be easy or it might be challenging, instead of being like, how'd it go? How are you doing? Or like,
how was your day?
How was your day?
Tell me about your day.
Yeah. Ask them like, how was your day today? What did you fail at? What was your failure today? Like, what challenges did you go through?
Yeah.
And, you know, when your kid is young, you can phrase it in a different way.
What did you do that was really hard today?
Yeah, like, what was hard? Like, did you do anything hard today? Did you get frustrated? Or, like, what, like, basically have them, instead of just being like, how was your day? Good. Okay. Bye. It's like, because it's so easy to fall into that, like, even with adults, where you're just like, oh, what did you do? Like challenge them to think about, what did you fail at doing today and why, and how can you not do that next time, or what can you do differently so you don't fail, or how can you grow from that? I heard that and it was like, instead of being like, how are you, just be like, what did you fail at today? Straight into the point. Like, just ask them that question, see what they say. And you know, some days it might be like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Other days it might be like, oh my God, it was so hard, I did this. Like, I don't know what I did wrong. And then it kind of just, it opens that communication up where you can.
It doesn't work every time.
No, right. But
it gets them thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if they open up, you know, if you do it 10 times and they open up 9 times at a time, they're like, I don't want to talk about it. And then that one time they're like, you know what? It's like, I don't know. You should, like, I feel like I need to do that more with myself. Like, what did I fail at today and why?
Can I piggyback onto this one?
Yes.
For the next one.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of this because I have picked up our kid from school a lot of times. And it's hard for me because I'm excited when I pick up our daughter. Yeah. Like, I want to talk to her. I want to know what's going on. Probably one of the most valuable things that I need to remind myself of all the time is keep in mind that, like, when you leave your job, when you were in school, the last thing you want to do as soon as you have relieved yourself mentally of like being in that is go right out there and have a conversation about it.
For sure.
So give your kid a little bit of a mental break. Give them time to decompress before you start talking. Like, that's really hard for me because like, I'm so happy. I want to hear about it. Yeah. And a lot of times in the beginning, before I realized what I was doing, I would like pick and pry and like try to get her to open up. It's not
like a negative.
Yeah. It'd be like, tell me about like, what'd you do in art class, or what'd you do in math, or like, you know, whatever. And she'd just be like, Dad,
like,
stop.
Can you just roll down the windows and like take a deep breath?
Yeah. Put yourself in their shoes and just remember, like, give them a break.
Well, and when they're young like that, they can't, the communication is so limited where they can't verbalize like, hey, listen, I just had like 6 to 8 hours of kids just constantly making noise and teachers constantly telling me what to do. Like, I'm tired. I just want to stay here and dump my backpack out on the back seat and throw my shit around. Yeah. Can you just stop asking me questions? Like, it's it's funny. I used to do that too. And it's almost like when they get home, they get a snack and then they start like playing. You can sit down and while they're playing, like just almost open up while you're playing with them, or if they have homework. Yeah. It's really funny because I agree. It's like it's almost like you have to empathize with yourself and then empathize with them and understand, like, when you're at the end of a day and you're done, you've been working and talking to people, you need like a moment, and then you can, open up later if you can, like, I don't know.
Right. You have to give them time to decompress.
Yeah. But you want to be like, how was your day? I'm so happy to see you. Like, I miss you all day long. I know. And it's hard. It's hard to, like, as a parent, you're like, gotta put that on the back burner.
I don't know how many times, like, when we're driving home, Lila's gone, Dad, can we just listen to the radio? Can you just turn it up? Can you stop talking?
She used to do that to me too.
So I've got another one. Okay. Number 28. This one is important, and we've been as a team doing better. And actually, this is going to be, I've got two. I've got 28 and 29.
Oh, you're bringing us home here.
Well, so 28 is a trap that a lot of people fall into. I've seen it and I've heard it in different parents. This is what we do.
Okay.
If your kid gets snotty, or if your kid gets demanding, and like kids get hangry, kids get tired, they forget to have their best manners.
Of course they do.
Don't let requesting things or asking for things in the incorrect way slide. So, like, even if it's something little, like, if we're at dinner and whatever, say one of our kids wants a drink. If they say, as an example, I want some water, we don't get them water. We will remind them, we'll say, what's the right way to ask? And most of the time they'll go, please. And we don't let that slide either, because what we do is we make them rephrase from the beginning. So we're basically positively brainwashing them that there's a right way to ask for something. And it goes like, Mom, Dad, could I please have some water? And that's just a respect thing that will be really powerful the rest of their life. So don't get in the habit of doing something without them having asked for it in an appropriate way, a respectful way.
Absolutely. I agree with that fully. I have a good one.
Hold on. I want to do 29 real quick before I forget.
Yep.
Yeah. 29 is this. Regardless of how old your kid is or kids are, whatever it is, the one thing that will erode your family's success faster than anything else, and Carly and I struggled with this for a little while too, is do your job as a parent and communicate with your spouse. If you are a single parent, as hard as that probably is, this might be easier for you because you don't have to bounce it off someone else. But when you have a rule, or when you have something in your house, a boundary for your family, don't ever discuss the boundary or the disagreement about the boundary in front of your kid when it is happening.
They sense the weakness.
Do not show them weakness. So what it is like, if it happens and you realize, like, here's an example. Say your kid doesn't eat dinner. Let's just say that. Say they ate nothing, and you warn them. Say, this is it. This is dinner. We're not doing snacks later. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
Later, when they're going to bed and they go, I'm hungry, and you have a rule, or one of you said, like, this is it, no snacks. That is not the time to have an argument with your spouse about, well, she's hungry, whatever, or like, well, whatever it is. Don't do it.
We've both
done
it before.
Stop yourself from having a conversation. Do it later, but come to every problem as an opportunity to be unified with your spouse. So if you have a message, do the right thing, even if it sucks when you're doing it.
Yeah, that's hard.
Communicate with your kid, and we've had some knockdown, drag out fights about this.
It's important to do that, though.
The effectiveness of having a unified message that when I say something, Carly backs me up, and when Carly says something, I back her up. Even if it's like, at the time you're like, well, it's kind of borderline. I don't know if I agree with it. If your kid senses that there is an opportunity to
They know.
cause weakness in your relationship, they're gonna go for that every time. They learn really quickly.
I think,
don't do it. Be unified in your communication to them.
And I think, like, honestly, this is like raw, real, and we're saying this because we've been in the position where we have not done it the right way.
Yeah.
And we've been in the position where we have done it the right way. And
this is stuff we screwed up on.
Absolutely.
And learned.
All of the stuff that we've talked about in this podcast is like,
we've done everything.
We're not perfect in, like, we're not 100% in all the stuff that we're talking about. But also we've learned the hard way, I would say, with almost all this stuff, like, that there's a right way that fits for you and your family. That's the most important thing, is like, do what feels right for you and your family. And, touching on your point, like, don't compare yourself to other people and have it turn out in, like, a negative internalizing situation where you're seeing it and then it's like, oh, I have to do this because somebody else is doing this. Or like, I have to do this because I feel bad if I don't. It's like, you fall into that trap so easily. And it's so, like, if it comes from a negative, or if it turns out to be in a negative light, it's like your kids can pick up on that. Your spouse senses that. Like, yourself, you can feel that. You give off negative, like, it's just like, do what's right for you. Do what's right for your family. Like, if you hear any of this advice and you have other pieces of advice, or if you've done something differently, like, please leave it in the comments. Like, if anybody that comes to this video for just like, I want to hear what somebody else is doing. Like, I'm so interested in hearing what other people do that works for them. Or if they're like, wow, that works for you. Like, that sucks. It doesn't work for us. Like, here's what works. Like, it's important to get a multitude of counsel. I've heard that before so many times. I think it's a biblical thing, but, like, it's also just general common sense.
Though. Yeah.
It's like, if you get, a wisdom from multiple sources, like, you're better off than just listening to one thing, or like believing that you're the only source of truth. Like, there's so many things that are important to listen to and to be like, cool, that's cool, I respect that, but, like, I'm gonna do it differently. Or like, yeah, that's a great point, I should maybe, like, incorporate that. But it's really like, going back to, like, the being unified and, like, making sure that as spouses you're on top of it. We've done it wrong. We've done it right. We've done it upside down. We've done it right side up. Like, we have done it in every form. Like, it's parenting. I mean, it's life. You have to go through shitty things. You have to go through great things to recognize both. And then, if everything's good all the time, you'll never know when it's shitty. And if everything's shitty all the time, it's like, damn, I really wish it was good. It's like, you just have to go through it to kind of know. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, we are sharing all of this information, not as, like, coming from a place of superiority, but coming from like, if we could have watched
this,
there.
If we could have watched this and spent 1 hour of our time and gotten this information, I would have watched it.
Yeah.
And it would have saved me some headaches.
And we've listened to our own parents, we've listened to friends, we've listened to random YouTubers, we've listened to our birth classes, which don't do that sometimes, but also do it. There's a lot of things, but it's interesting. Okay, I have a couple.
How many do we have left?
We're on 29 right now. I have a really, like, interesting one that just recently happened. That is,
I see what it is, and I agree fully.
So cool. And I try as much as I can to have our kids practice, like, picking up after themselves and taking care of their things, like, when they get them out.
Let's preload this thing with kids are messy.
Naturally. Yeah.
Like, the amount of, I won't say dirtiness. No, it's dirty. It's like the amount of dirtiness, and
not every kid is like that, though.
No, but every kid has, like, moments where they do something and you're like, why would you rub toothpaste all over your arms? Like, why would you do that? Or like today, our son walked in completely covered in dirt. And I'm not saying he took handfuls of dirt and just put it in his hair. I'm like, okay, like, that's going to happen. And there's nothing I'm going to do. Yeah. Yeah. So
they learn
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to make messes. They're going to be dirty.
Yeah. I agree with you. So, like, kids, I think just not even kids, humans who have not developed into adult humans.
Yes.
Because you stereotype kids a lot, like I do. Like everybody's human. I do it, you do it as adults. Like everyone makes messes. Like it's a habit. It's a habit to clean up after yourself. It's a habit to take care of things as you go along. Like maintenance rather than like chaos containment or whatever. My brother said it so well one time. It's maintenance instead of like crisis management or something.
Yeah.
But basically it's like taking care of the things that you're doing at the time rather than having to like take care of it all at the same time because it gets really overwhelming. Like it's a habit. I mean, it's something that you have to practice. You have to, constantly remind yourself. And kids are just predisposed to not, you have to teach them those habits. Like they're just, they pick up a bucket, they dump it out, and then they just like run away.
Yeah.
And you never see them again.
They don't think about the long-term consequence of leaving it laying out.
And there are some parents who pick up after their kids 100%.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not
Good
that
luck.
cool.
but there are whatever. And then there are some parents who it's, if you don't pick up your stuff, like
they're like
you're
the cleanup
going
police.
to time out. And you know what?
Which is cool.
Both ways,
Any
whatever
type
works
of-
for you.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you, like whatever. I feel like we have a pretty decent balance. Like I try to give them, I'd say it's like 80, 20, 70, 30. Like I try to give them grace where I'm like, okay, like I can read the room right now. They're like just messing around. They're playing. They're having a great time. Like they want to go outside and play. Like I'm going to have them pick up, if there's 20 toys on the ground, I'm going to have them pick up 5 to 10. Like, hey, if you guys get that, I'll get this. Let's do it together. We'll teamwork, whatever.
Yeah. And I make them clean up everything.
Yeah. And then there are some times where it's like, no, you guys like got all the stuff out. You got to pick up all the stuff. And you have to like, give them that ebb and flow of responsibility. Like it's hard for kids to fully be like on all the time. It is.
Yeah.
It's just like they're little, they're learning, give them some grace. But then sometimes it's like, they have to do it and not just get off scot-free or they're going to learn that like, oh, I can just do this and then I'm, I'm good. Somebody will take care of it for me. There are times when it's okay. There are times, in my opinion, there are times when it's okay to do that and clean up after them. There are times when it's like, you got to do your shit. Like you got to learn that this is the right way to do it right now. But one of my friends has 2 young girls and a little boy, and she is doing a phenomenal job. And if you're watching this, props. She's doing a phenomenal job having her kids like take care of their stuff like after they're done playing with it.
Yeah.
With no questions. Like
we'll just tell them what happened.
Oh my gosh.
So we had a play date.
Yeah. So we had a play date. They came over. Our girls were with their girls. There were 4 girls upstairs in a room full of toys, full of girl stuff.
Just like a bomb went off.
A bedroom, a living room, like so many things. So at the end of the day, we're like, all right, like, holy cow, this is a mess. But we were just like, did you guys have fun? Like, holy crap, you played with all this stuff. Like, that's awesome. Like, what was your favorite toy? Like we tried to make it wasn't like a negative thing.
Yeah.
But we all said, okay, it's time to clean up. Like we said to our girls, like, can you guys get your room? And then my friend said, hey, girls, can you guys pick up this stuff? And I can't remember exactly how she said it, but I think she said like,
I remember how.
She said, yeah. You probably know better.
So we told them it was like time to wrap up.
Yeah.
We gave them a warning. So it wasn't just like we were ripping off a Band-Aid.
Yeah, we gave them like 5-10 minutes.
And our oldest came down and said, the 2 girls, they cleaned up everything. They cleaned up every toy, and they even made our girls' beds. And when we asked our friend about it, she said, we do this thing where, she said, I told my girls, if you want to come back, you have to pick up your toys.
That's right. Yeah.
You have to clean up. And clearly they wanted to come back.
She goes, they must really want to come back and play with you guys because like they don't always do this. They don't always clean up everything. And she said, it sounds like they had fun because they want to come back. Everything's clean. So I came upstairs and I was looking around and I was like, oh my gosh, like everything is back exactly where it was. Like before they got here. The beds were
made.
They
made like we did it.
They made our sweet girls' beds because like they must have been playing on them and like jumping and throwing the blankets around and stuff. They made the beds. Like, and their girls are 6 and 4. I mean, they're young. Like they're not, they're not super old for like, that would be something like a 10-year-old would do. Like, so I remember coming up and I was like, and she would ask me, she's like, where does this go? And like, can I organize these things for you? And I was like, oh my God, you're so sweet. Like, thank you so much. And it was just, it made such an impression in my mind because I was like, man, like, that's a really important thing. I mean, they know like the reward was basically like, if you really like playing here, you got to make sure you leave it better than you find it, basically. And like, take care of the stuff, be respectful. And I was like, that's awesome. If I can get our kids to do that, like.
Well, we've done that at like grandma and grandpa's and nana and papa's.
We try,
you know, that's what we do.
Every opportunity we get to say, hey, if we make a mess and I remember my dad taught me that when I was really little. He drilled that into my brain. It's like, when you go in anywhere, doesn't matter where it is, leave it better than you found it. And that stuck with me for a long time. And your dad just, when we were down there, he recently just said that. He was like, you don't have to pick that stuff up. And I was like, I can't not.
No, we're going to.
Like, my brain is so wired to like, when I leave a room, like I turn around and look at it and I'm like, does it look better? Does it look the same? Did I just F shit up? Like, how does it look? So it's important though to teach kids that, because I agree. It is not an innate thing for most people. I would say some people are more organized than others, but most of the time when you're a young person, it's a habit, something you have to teach them. But it's just like watching a kid pick up a bucket and just dump the toys over their head. It's like, that's more normal to me than seeing a kid pick up every single thing and then make bad sounds. Like, that's awesome. So props if you're listening to this.
Yeah, you know who you are. So I have one more that I want to do.
This is 31.
Yeah. So if you have any, I can do like a bonus one at the end. But it's a good one.
We're just coasting at this point.
Do you want me to wrap up the podcast with one final one? It's a happy, good one. Do you have any that you want to share in top to close it out?
I thought I heard a child.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
No, you go for it.
Okay. So this one is like, for me, I try to do it. I know you do it all the time. This is like me personally. One of my goals, and it's like not even really a goal. It's like, it's gonna happen and there's no way I'm gonna let it not happen, if that makes sense. Like I do this to ensure, but what I do is every single day, regardless of like what's going on, if I'm mad, if I'm, whatever, like if the kids are being good, bad, cranky, whatever, I make a point, and this sounds so simple. I make a point every single day of telling each of our kids at least once that I love them. And I don't say it like, hey, I love you. Or I don't say it in a way that's like embarrassing, But one of the things that I make sure that I do, and some of our, like, depending on when I say it, they'll go like, I'll go like, hey, I'm like, hey, I love you. And they'll go, love you too. And they'll run. Yeah. I always stop them and I say, hey, look at me. And they look me in the eye and I say, I love you. And I make sure that they hear me say it and they are looking at me. So that's one of the things I do, just to make sure that they know that I love them. I think it's important.
I do it via snacks.
Yeah.
I feel like the more snacks I give them, the more love they know that I have for them.
Yeah. So that's one thing that personally,
that's really cool.
It's one of my tips. So that way, like when I'm 80 years old, they won't go back and be like, man, my dad never said it. He'll be like, they'll go, my dad said it every day. I'd rather have that.
I just watched that John Arasaf guy on Tom Bilyeu's podcast. He had some like weird stuff with his dad. And he said he called his dad one day, like after he was like a full adult and his dad was like older, and he like flat out asked his dad, he goes, Dad, why did you never tell me that you loved me? And it was like really interesting because he had a younger sister. Mm-hmm. And he goes, why did you always tell my sister that you loved her, but you never said it out loud to me? And he goes, well, that's not what men do. Like they don't tell each other that they love each other. Right. And like, well, it's okay to tell a girl that you love her because she's a girl. And I remember he was like explaining his like past, not trauma, maybe it was trauma, but it was basically like his relationship. And he was like, I just flat out asked him. And he said like, now we say I love you on the phone every time we end the conversation. And I was like, that's super cool. Like, so it seems like it's probably going to turn into one of those cringy things, but I love you. And they're like, I'll be very sure to not say it in an embarrassing way. Yeah. But my goal is to say it to them every single day, just so that there's zero question down the road. So like, even when their life is horrible,
you know, if it gets to the point where, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They'll always know that, like, we love them.
I just show them.
With all
I
our
just
heart.
show them in snacks and
Yeah.
bounce houses.
So
No, that's really cool.
I think that's my tip 31.
That's a really good segue into the recent movie that we just watched, About Time.
Oh, you're capping this off with a movie
Yeah,
review?
of course. No, not a movie review,
Oh.
just like basically that one quote. So my friend Kayla, or our friend Kayla, I just name dropped. Sorry, I usually
Yes,
don't
you
name
did.
drop. We have a friend who suggested a movie that is really sweet, and it's called About Time with Rachel McAdams. I don't remember the young
I don't know the
gentleman's
guy's name either.
actor's name. Shoot, but it's really cute. It's basically it's. I'm not even gonna give any. There's a quote in the movie. He's a time traveler. You have to watch it.
Don't give it away.
No, he's a time traveler, and basically at the end of the movie, the lessons that he's learned throughout the whole thing, like the one really important, cool lesson, is basically he
You're
says,
giving it away.
"No,
You just gave away the whole movie.
no, not at all."
No,
I mean, everyone
kinda.
learns lessons in
Kinda.
life. I don't know
Okay.
why that's okay.
All right. Yeah.
So basically, the lesson that he learned was he said, I live each day as if I traveled back in time to come back to this one day.
Yeah.
And this is the day that I chose to come back to you. And like, I live the whole day like it's a day that I would want to revisit.
Yeah.
And it's just like such a cool concept to think about when it puts you in the moment. It just makes you think forward and also think about the past at the same time. It's like which puts you in the moment. It's like you're in between those two bits of time. And it's like, I don't know. It was so
Yeah. It's
cool.
like, he's like, he comes back and he takes full advantage of experiencing the day to the fullest.
Yeah. For no other reason than just you're
like
alive.
take everything in and experience it like it was a day that you chose to come back to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
I'd
such a
agree.
cool concept. And I thought I've not stopped thinking about that since I saw that.
Can I add a bonus?
I also fell asleep during
Yeah, you did.
like
Can I add a
third
bonus little thing on
quarter
top?
part.
This kind of goes hand in hand with that idea.
Yeah.
Your kids grow up. Everybody says this. Everybody says this. They go, "Oh man, how many people have we seen in stores, family members, like wherever?" And they always see us and they go, "Well, I mean, maybe it's not true for everybody, but they usually go, 'You have such a beautiful family.
Yeah.
Enjoy it,' because they
Yeah.
grew up really fast." And we're like, "Oh yeah," at the moment you're like pulling your hair out and you're like all stressed out. And now our kids are all like giants. So yeah, take these 31 tips. Hopefully it'll make your job a little bit easier because your kids are going to grow up really fast.
Really
So
fast.
enjoy every single day. Cool.
It goes really, really fast.
Yeah.
I got a 25% tear yet. Not fully, but
Don't
25% right there.
All right. Anyway, this is a little bit different than what we normally do.
Yeah.
And if you made it all the way through, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button because if you made it this far, you might want to see our next one.
Yeah.
Right?
Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.